this Sunday morning, my guest Rashmi Aiyappa, the founder of Aashwasan, is here with me in Bolly 92.3 FM. Aashwasan is the only organization in the world that brings in the knowledge of life force mechanism and timeless phenomena to transform lives. The deep knowledge of human mechanism, its creation and its experience is called Aashwasan Science. The foundation of Aashwasan Science was laid by Rashmi Aiyappa in the year 2005. She has invented various tools and techniques using her inborn knowledge and has created Aashwasan, which has become a path-breaking movement worldwide. Aashwasan Science has brought about a revolutionary transformation in thousands of individuals all over the world. The transformation is brought by putting people in touch with their infinite self, thus bringing in holistic well-being at psychological and spiritual levels. Aashwasan Science, being one of its kind in the world, offers services to bring about complete well-being in an individual in a very unique way. Aashwasan Science is not only able to identify root cause analysis of the issues and problems, but it is able to bring about a transformatory solution. So let's talk to Rashmi Aiyappa and know more about her and being the founder of Aashwasan Science.
Do you think you're the one who's making a difference and want to be here on my show talking about your work? Well, contact me on sheetal@sheetalohri.com or 415-505-9592. And we are here with our amazing, gorgeous, beautiful, talented scientist, Miss Rashmi Aiyappa, who is the founder of Aashwasan. Rashmi, a very, very warm welcome to Bolly 92.3 FM and to our to my show, Making a Difference. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Sheetal, and very good morning to everyone in California.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, it's a Sunday morning, beautiful morning. So, Rashmi, before, I start talking about the amazing work you're doing for the community and the world, let's just know, who is Rashmi Aiyappa? What's her story and what's her journey?
So, Rashmi Aiyappa is this very vulnerable human being who was born with experiences that she lived with. And for me, I am the living experience of what I resonate in Aashwasan. So born a certain way, you live a certain way, it becomes reality to you. And then it was culminating into a beautiful mechanism that was possible for me to create by the age 30. So Aashwasan Sciences was created at 30. When I was 30 years old, and that was the opening of the doors for me. When you're born a certain way, is an assurance in you that
right.
This is taking you somewhere, and you've got to live with it. You've got to have the faith in nature that it's created you a certain way and is reaching out with certain things for you. So just like when you're 1 year old, you learn some skills. You're 2 years old, you learn some skills. So things that are born with you as an ability in you also need a season. They also they need a maturity time. And I think there was a knowing in me right from birth that moment is near. It's going to happen. So it made me a very carefree child. I was living a full-fledged, beautiful, normal life. Had the most beautiful parents in the world. My father was in the army, in the defense.
So were you traveling a lot, or were you
lot.
stationed in Bangalore?
No, all over India every 2 years. And that's a beautiful exposure, because every 2 years you're traveling to another state and you're also getting to know people from all over, and the mix of religion, the mix of cultures actually really makes a very rich experience for you. And I think that was a very beautiful life part for me, the childhood part. And so when I, sort of finished my O-levels, my dad retired and I moved to Bangalore city, and my father decided that we will settle down there. And life began, living in two worlds. One was the world that was by birth, living experiences that I had. So most people ask me, what are these experiences you're talking about?
I may ask the same. So what are these experiences you're talking about, Rashmi?
So in the beginning, as I began my life in this world, I thought I was like everybody else. My experience was that I had no present tense. I was living through lives of everybody, seeing past, present, future all at one time. And I thought everybody's like that. I would also get glimpses of each one's body mechanisms, and I would know someone has a heart problem, someone has something else. And I really thought that's the way the world is created, till I reached grade 1. And I had an experience with a benchmate of mine, and I realized, oh my God, I am not seeing what they're seeing. And like I said, I think we choose the parents we are born to, and they're here to nurture you for the purpose you're born to. And my parents were that for me. I walked back home and I narrated the fact that I experienced something about this world that put me aside. And my father said, everybody that's born with a purpose is born for a reason.
Right.
To take that, nurture that, live with that, and then make sure you respect that. And he said that just because others don't resonate with these experiences doesn't mean that you have to start questioning your experiences. Just embrace them completely. And that was the beautiful turning point for me. So I embraced them and lived with it very gracefully, because I think when it comes to you by birth, it's organic.
So being in India, when a child starts experiencing or seeing things which are related to either scientific reasons or anything, they start believing, oh, the child's a part of God. Did you have any kind of those notions happening around you with family, with friends? Were they thinking, oh my God, Rashmi is a God child? Did you ever hear that?
I was blessed that my parents kept it to themselves.
Okay, great.
But if you have these Shastrijis who come.
Right.
So we come from a very spiritual family. We don't come from a religious family. I belong to a place called Coorg, which is down south in India, the Kodwas.
Yes, I know. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah. So we're ancestral worshippers, and we believe in nature. We worship nature. So luckily for me, the family I came from was not a religious family. But being in the army, you celebrate every festival. It could be Eid, it could be Baisakhi, it could be Diwali. I mean, all festivals are celebrated beautifully, equally. So all these religious people who would come once in a way would, come and tell my mom and dad that, oh my God, she's blessed. She's a special child. You've got to protect her. You've got to nurture her. I've had many, many, many such experiences through my life where, just because of friends tagging me along, I've gone along and I've been confronted by these religious or learned people and said, oh my God, you're here, but we should be coming to you. So in the bigger picture, I think we're all one. We all are blessed in the same way. It's just that each one has a different purpose. Each one has been given a different ability to render a purposeful life and make this world a better place. So it is giving that importance to that inborn ability and purpose of life, and make sure that you respect everybody in the same way. So I'm doing what I was born to do, and I'm sure if everybody's doing what they're born to do, this world is going to be a colorful and meaningful place to live in.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Listeners, I know you're enjoying listening to Rashmi Aiyappa. We will be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere. You tuned into North America's and Bay Area's largest South Asian FM radio station, Bolly 92.3 FM. Do you think you're the one who's making a difference and want to be here on my show talking about your work? Well, contact me on sheetal@sheetalohri.com or 415-505-9592. And we are back talking to our amazing Rashmi Aiyappa, the founder of Aashwasan. So, Rashmi, let's hear about Aashwasan. What is Aashwasan? I understand Hindi, but I want my listeners to know, what is Aashwasan?
So Aashwasan in Sanskrit means assurance.
Yes.
And
how did Aashwasan get formed? How did you start this organization?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I was living with these experiences, and I knew I had to wait for the right time. Because I think everything has to develop to a point of complete maturity, and half knowledge is very dangerous to share. And luckily for me, I think there was an inside calling and knowing that sort of guided me in that sense. So meanwhile, parallelly, I was running software firm, And at some point around 2004, I think I had come to the brink of it, and I realized that, okay, now I just can't wait anymore. These experiences have literally come to a maturity level, and I know I'm ready to explode. And a conversation with my parents saying that, okay, this has to happen soon. The time was coming closer and closer. In 2005, finally, one morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was woken up, and I felt like I was no longer on my bed. And I sat 90 degrees wondering, oh my God, am I alive or dead? And I'm trying to touch my bed, it isn't there anymore. And I find myself sitting in a ball of light. And I think these are experiences that happen to everyone, because these are unconscious experiences. And the only thing I realized at that point is like someone, there's no language, but someone speaking to me saying, you're ready to go. And the next I know is I walk out of my room to my dad's room, and I said, Dad, can we register Aashwasan? And that was the turning point of Aashwasan's birth, and it happened to be my birthday that morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
such a coincidence.
Right.
And then it was no turning back. Every time I saw a life, mechanisms will just pop up inside of me. And now we have 8,000 people crossed who have, been reversed or been addressed with different conditions, from multiple sclerosis to autism, schizophrenia, just name the condition. And so the beauty of this was that I'm like this instrument that's kept, and is kept ready for that time for someone to come play with it. And then the music is created. So I think the music started getting created in 2005 when Aashwasan began. I'm just a tool, I'm just an instrument, and something's out of me happening. Techniques are being created across.
And when we say techniques, what kind of techniques are we talking about?
So in a very simple language, if I can use quantum mechanics, you're talking about energy-based formulas that are getting created out of me. And that happens because every life is unique. So when I look at a life, the same basic format is the same, but the way they manifest energy systems on that particular physical form is different. So that's why everybody experiences differently, processes differently. So these techniques get created when I look at a particular person, and I know, okay, in this particular person, these are the areas where there is a problem in the way the body is communicating. So for a person, they may just come with the symptom, and they may not even realize that, oh, it's coming from this particular root cause. But I'm able to sort of experience that and see, okay, this is the root cause, that's why this person's come with this problem. So that's how techniques got created, and I'm still continuously creating. In fact, I landed in New York about 25 days ago, and I landed, and the very next day I created 5 techniques. So
Wow.
It was so fascinating.
So how were you received in New York? How do you think New York is? And did people, are really convinced? And do you think they're really liking the techniques, what you're talking about?
Oh, absolutely. I think I felt like home. I think I was meant to be there. See, it's 13 years since Aashwasan has been created.
Right.
And I was asked many times, when are you going to the US? So I'm not here because of a business plan. I'm here because there was a calling that it's time to go. And as I landed in New York, it just felt like things were kept ready for me.
Got it.
Lives landed up, and these are lives from basically, skeptics to artists, to musicians, to actors, to entrepreneurs, to just name it, and everybody culminating into an experience finally that makes them all come together. That was Aashwasan's experience. I think we felt humbled. I felt so humbled and blessed that I was part of that experience, and I think I knew that was the place I was going to set up Aashwasan in the US, at least to start with.
Okay, so are you opening up an office in New York?
Yes.
Okay, great. So where in New York exactly it's going to be?
Oh, good question. we're still figuring out.
Okay.
We do have another event lined up on the 11th of August. In fact, we fly back for that event now in New York. And we are in the process of figuring that out. We have beautiful patrons and clients who actually came and turned into this beautiful, patron group for us, and they opened this community, the American community, for us, saying that you've got to collect a lot of people. Let's basically create a consciousness where people are actually trying to make another person's life better. So they didn't just come for themselves. They realized that when they landed up to Aashwasan, they became people who wanted to do good to others. So that was beautiful to see that they would want to make a difference to somebody else just because they went through an experience themselves. So passing on the good and trying to be more hopeful for others was very, very, I think it was an endorsement. It was a beautiful inspiration for me there. Yeah.
No, that's really nice. And how do you think you're received here in our dear sunny California?
I think pretty exciting. I have a large autism community group that has been taking Aashwasan services from India, and I met
From here in Bay Area?
Yes.
Okay.
And some beautiful families who hosted us at their homes and got a group of people to come. So I think people took initiatives on their own, and that was really, really encouraging to see that, because they went through certain experiences with their children and saw changes, they really felt that Aashwasan must be available to people here. And they took initiative on their own to host us here. And the hospitality, the love, it's almost like you found a family back here.
Got it.
You don't know them, you haven't met them, but in a different world, you already know each other so beautifully. So it was really nice to see that they wanted to make a difference for other people as well. So I think that is a very nice thing I saw when I landed here in the US, that everywhere I went, every event I did in the span in my tour, I realized that everybody was so humbled by their experiences that they literally put their suffering and pain behind and felt like this needs to go to others.
Yeah.
And that
basically
was
sharing.
Yes, I felt so happy to see that side in people, because that's how we make this world a better place, and that's exactly what we are trying to do.
Right. Well, we are very happy to have you talking to us about it. So now going back to Aashwasan and the sciences, tell us, how did the science concept came in? You started the name Aashwasan, which means assurance. Okay, you probably think you're giving assurance to people, but coming from a person who is, I won't say skeptical, but somebody who's seeing it from outside, how do you think you can actually give Aashwasan or assurance to that person, saying, no, this is legitimate, this is not something which I'm experiencing, but I am helping you? So tell us a little bit about that side.
Sure. So there are two aspects to this. One, the way it turned out for me, that itself was an assurance to me that this was not me doing it. It's not a man-made acquired learning. I haven't learned anything. It's a phenomena, and phenomena are not created by one person. I happened to be the instrument that was experiencing it. So when Aashwasan started, at that point, the first question that came to me is that, am I going to walk this road alone? But very quickly, I felt I was going to be seeing people at different points of time in my life. And these are people who are going to walk this path with me. And the way it turned out was that at different points of time, just the way I envisaged it, I would meet these people and they became the practitioners. Now, unlike many other things that you might have heard, where somebody who's probably got some learning or knowledge, if I may say so, is teaching and rendering some sort of handover and has followers or practitioners who are practicing that discipline. In Aashwasan, I don't believe in followers. I think that we're all one. Each one is just here to do a purpose. So for me, I consider everybody an equal. Two, I knew that practitioners who will be created in Aashwasan, I can't teach something to them because it's inborn to me. But I immediately knew that these people, when they come to me, it is going to be a spiritual experience in such a way that our souls would get connected in such a way that they will experience what I experienced. So today I have 30 odd practitioners around the world, and what they experience is exactly what I experienced. So if you put my practitioners in my session room and you put actually a client there, all of them will say the same thing at the same time. They've never been taught anything by me. So when I create a technique, they experience the technique. So in terms of process, that is science.
So when you are doing any seminars or anything, has these been shown, or have you shown that your practitioners are with you and
Yeah,
you
they're
go
all
through-
with me all the time. Every event, every show we do, every event we, if it's a public healing session or it's a one-on-one, it's the practitioners who run it.
Got it.
So that's one aspect when you say science. Now, Aashwasan is a spiritual science organization.
Right.
Now, when I say spiritual, it means self-awareness. Yeah, and science is repeatable. There's a cause and effect. There's a before and after, and you can actually view the whole process, the mechanism, and the manifestation. So for us, the fact that anybody who comes to Aashwasan, no matter what they come for, any practitioner can render their service to them because it is created as a nature's design. Yeah, something that is it's a residue from the past, if I may say. Certain experiences that we have left behind, our human lives are not able to tap into it. But some people like me, I think there are thousands and millions of Rashmis in this world who are tapping into some experiences because it's a reminder by nature that we've changed the human format and we have to return back to that. On one side, we're very sophisticated, we have created technology, but just like your wireless technology, there is
Our
a technology.
body mechanism, yeah, it has it. Yeah.
So exactly like how you have a modem in your house and you have 5 laptops connecting a Google page on that, that's the same technique that Aashwasan uses. So I am the modem with the internet technology in it, and they are my laptops.
Got it.
So you can open your Google page on any laptop; it's going to open the same way, right? So these technologies existed in mankind for thousands of years. It's just that we have gone further and further away from experiencing them, and now we call them paranormal. It's all normal.
Right.
We are all normal. These are all normal experiences. It's just that these are not coming accessible to us in a seamless manner. We get spurts of it. Some of us don't experience it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know. So yeah, it's absolutely repeatable. All our clients have documented files, and they see a before and after everything they do. In fact, we do something called as milestoning, which means like if you're an autistic child or you have any critical illness, we create a milestone for you and say, this is what you can expect in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And so you can go along with the manifestations and get your hope from there. So when you experience the change is when you know it exists. So your experience is your reality, and that's what Aashwasan is about. It's an experiential journey so that there is no placebo effect. There's nobody teaching and preaching anything. You are living your own reality and you're changing your reality yourself.
Understood.
Yeah,
Well, that's fantastic. So, Rashmi, on another note, would you like to, give some kind of spiritual advice to our listeners of Poly 92.3 FM and of making a difference with Sheetal Ohri? Any kind of advice?
Sure. First of all, I never advise, but I don't.
Or
believe-
any spiritual message
Yeah.
which you would like to give out?
You know what? Keep love in the core. I think that's one thing I notice around the world. That if you see a loving person and that person is extending the love out, like being a huggy person or trying to be affectionate, there are always questions saying, why is she being so touchy-feely and huggy? What's her agenda? But if you're pompous, if you have an attitude, you're considered fashionable.
Correct.
So I think the world's going in the reverse direction,
Right.
and I think that's one fundamental thing I really wish the world could change, is put love in the core of your being. And let that be your natural human behavior towards one another. Yes, there are bad experiences in this world, but you don't live out of those anticipations. If everybody's heart could leave all these presumptions that you could be hurt, so let's just keep these defense mechanisms out there. If we don't do that, we won't change our basic formatting. When you change your core, your format, that the way you're designed, everything about your humanity changes. So one is to keep heart in the right place, which is the love zone. It is your spirit that is full of love, and that is the way to be, to start with. And two is that, in this world, there is nothing called fitting in. As long as you have your constant oneness with yourself, you're able to go completely right into your spirit and live the person you are within you, the world will sync with you. It's not the other way around. So if you completely change over and think that that's the way to fit in, there is no end to it. These are the two important things I'd like to say. The third is, if Aashwasan could really touch every life in this world, our journey is about bringing nature back. Our journey is about bringing the original format of mankind back. Through these experiences, what we're trying to do is making people experience the way they were originally designed and then make them live a very seamless life. So it doesn't look like hard work. It's not like those 10 things that you have a Cosmopolitan magazine. 10 things to do?
Yeah.
Checklist?
Yes.
Oh, now I fit in. But not live like that, but life
Right.
becomes effortless.
Right.
So if that can be done, I think it will be heaven on earth. And this is heaven on earth. There is no other heaven. This is it. This is the world. So we can create that to be heaven or not. That's a choice we make. So bear the love. I always say love is where it all begins, and I want to leave saying that, because that's the reminder. No matter how uncomfortable somebody gets with it, I always say, please begin with your love. That's where you will find your happiness in all aspects of your life. So that's what I would say spiritually.
Well, thank you so much, Rashmi. Really, it's been a pleasure talking to you, listening about Aashwasan, and I really hope that our listeners can take this to heart and understand the philosophy and the phenomena which you're trying to do and bring betterment to this world. So on another note, if our listeners would like to connect with you, how can they do that?
So Aashwasan is a global company, and you can log into our websites, which is www.aashwasan.com, or type my name, Rashmi Aiyappa, and you can Google it and you'll find all the contact addresses. You have all the contacts available on the net.
So
And-
social media, basically, they can just Google
Yes.
Aashwasan
Yeah.
or Rashmi Aiyappa, and they
Yeah.
can just connect with you.
They can connect to our centers, they can connect to our social media, which is our Facebook page, our LinkedIn page. We're quite communicative in that level, and we are available. Our practitioners will take on all your queries and take you to the right person and connect you. And I am a very accessible person. In fact, I have to be stopped by people saying, Rashmi, enough. I think now you can go inside. So,
Well,
yeah.
that's human, and that's
Yeah.
I think what really makes you who you are and who you become.
very
The
childlike,
assessing-
Sheetal.
Yeah,
Very
accessibility.
childlike.
Okay, then you're talking to somebody who's sitting right across to you. So I guess the mechanisms are, just flowing right now. I
Right.
guess I'm very similar. But no, thank you so much, Rashmi. Appreciate your time and being here in our station and in our studio. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Sheetal, and I wish everybody a beautiful life and lots of love. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.